Hi everyone, this is the Jonin Monkey, and we have a big update. Yes, as it says in the title, VGT has to make some big changes. Now, I know throughout my commentaries and updates and such, I won't make any big changes to Video Game Troubadour because I don't want to annoy the fan base for no good reason. The problem is, I do have a good reason this time. First off, as I've mentioned several times, and I'm sure you're all aware, Video Game Troubadour takes forever to come out. It took a year for the Ogre Battle episode to come out, and now it has been a year since that review. And frankly, it's not fair on you guys, and it's been absolutely frustrating for me. And despite all of my best efforts, the slow progress has not changed at all. And on top of that, in my personal life, I'm currently running 2 part-time jobs. And in one of those part-time jobs, my hours are getting extended, meaning I'll have even less time to work on this stuff. In short, the current model of VGT is not working, so unless I change something now, Video Game Troubadour will die, and that's something I do not want to do since I have too much fun working on it. So what changes are we going to make? Well, the first thing I will note is that I'm getting rid of the live action portions. That is kind of sad to me, since I do like performing in front of the camera and using my expressions to emote, etc. The problem is, that is often the most difficult part of VGT because the filming conditions have to be absolutely right before I go ahead with it, and frankly, I'm not going to have the time or the energy to keep doing the live action stuff. So I'm just going to have to stick to primarily voiceover, and I'm thinking of maybe some more mugshots, kind of like what I do with the talk-throughs, just to provide emotions. But long story short, I have to take the live action stuff out. Maybe I'll find some other way to incorporate live action footage in this channel, but in terms of Video Game Troubadour, yeah, it's gonna have to go. Or at the very least, get severely cut down. And the second big change? Well, I've suddenly realised something. There have been plenty of cases, like the review I'm currently working on, which is Fragile Dreams, where I thought there are plenty of things I want to talk about when it comes to that game, both good and bad. The problem is everything in between, because of course in most of the reviews I'm not just talking about the best and worst bits, I'm often trying to recap the entire plot. And surprisingly, this is often the hardest bit of the writing process. Not only are you constantly thinking of the best ways to sum up the plot, like which details are the most important, what can we skim over, how can I fit this in half an hour, etc. But of course, in order to keep it from being a boring summary, I have to keep constantly coming up with jokes for the various situations, and sometimes I can't come up with anything besides a basic reaction. So in order to get rid of that problem, I'm cutting that out entirely and replacing it with this new format. Okay, first off, it starts like normal. I say hi and then give you the basic background information about who made the game, who wrote the story, what the critical reception was, etc. Then, we're gonna have the Jonin Ape. Hey man. Do a quick 2-minute recap, basically explaining the premise, who the characters are, and roughly what happens in the plot. From that point onwards, each of my arguments, positive or negative, will be split up into 6 sections. Maybe we can come up with a better name for them later, I don't know. The maximum number of sections will be 6, although the number will be reduced depending on how big the actual story is and how much I have to talk about it. In each of these sections, I'm going to talk about one individual point. So, if we take Ogre Battle 64 as an example, let's say, I would have one section where I talk about Magnus's character arc, another section where I would talk about Ymil's character arc. Then I would have another point elaborated on the Lotus Empire and how I think a lot of their moves, including the whole plan to kill the goddess, are really dumb. Or at least I did at the time. Then there'd be another point for the hammy/unintentionally silly moments, such as Mari's introduction, you know, the she is suitable in age and in features remark. And the final point, I guess, would be the Chaos Fame system and all the creepy endings that come of it. It's basically 6 separate discussions, rants, whatever you want to call them, that go over the key points. And then finally, I would finish it up with my final thoughts, basically saying what I think of the overall game, whether I think it's good or bad. Yeah, the final say, basically. So, yeah, that's a new format I'm planning to go with at this time. I'm going to go ahead and use this new format for the next review just to see how much easier it is and whether or not I can get it out quicker or whether it's just wishful thinking on my part. If you guys can come up with any suggestions for how I could improve things, please leave them in the comment section because, like I said, things are gonna have to change, and I really would like your input so that I can make it as smooth and as good a transition as possible. I also may try and find some way to interact with the blog, like maybe I'll set a deadline so that instead of just having a single written review on Friday, I have 3 written reviews a month, and then right at the very end I'll have a video review. I don't know, I'm going to work that out, but I've been meaning to do that for a while in order to give the blog some more traffic. And actually, in the meantime, whilst I'm working at this, please check out the blog, www.thejohnnymonkey.tumblr.com. Not only because I'm still doing a Video Game Troubadour Pocket, but for this month, admittedly slightly late, so it's going to carry on a little bit, but for this month, I'm going to be writing a series of counter essays where basically I give my own interpretations of each version of Link for the Legend of Zelda franchise. So, if you're big Legend of Zelda fans, I encourage you to read those because I put a lot of work into them, and who knows, you may find them interesting. And it's also the best place to keep up with updates for Monkey Broadcast and VGT, etc. But until then, that's the changes I have planned for VGT. I will try and get the next episode out as soon as possible, and yeah, if you have any thoughts, I would love to hear them. I've been the Jonin Monkey, and until next time, cheerio.